In the not-so-distant future, Earth buzzed with the usual chaos of daily life as people rushed through their routines, unaware that their world was about to change forever. High above the atmosphere, a fleet of alien ships glimmered in the sunlight as they descended from the depths of space. The ships were unlike anything humanity had seen before, sleek and organic, with pulsating colors that shifted in mesmerizing patterns. They were the Zithorians, a race known for their technological advancements and insatiable curiosity about the universe. On Earth, the news spread like wildfire as government officials scrambled to make sense of the situation. Panic erupted as people speculated about the aliens' intentions. Were they here to invade or to communicate? One bright-eyed scientist, dear Elena Morales, watched the spectacle unfold from her lab. Her fascination with the stars had always driven her to seek the truth about life beyond Earth, and now it seemed her dreams were coming to life. Elena was determined to be part of this historic moment. She rushed to the command center where officials were debating how to handle first contact. The room buzzed with tension as military leaders and scientists clashed over the best course of action. At the center of the debate was the question of how to approach the Zithorians. Would they send diplomats, or perhaps a group of military personnel? She raised her hand to speak, her voice cutting through the noise. "We need to show them who we are," she said. "We have to give them a glimpse into our culture, something that truly represents humanity." The room fell silent as her words hung in the air. "But what would that be?" someone asked. "We have to make them understand our values and our emotions," she continued. Her eyes sparkled with excitement. "We could use humor." "Laughter," she said, "is a universal language. It transcends barriers and connects us in ways that words alone cannot. If we invite comedians to represent us, we can show them our spirit and resilience." The officials exchanged uncertain glances. Some were intrigued, while others dismissed the idea as foolishness. After much deliberation, the decision was made. Elena was appointed to lead a team that would select a group of comedians to make contact with the Zithorians. This was an unprecedented move, and one that would place the fate of humanity in the hands of those who spent their lives making people laugh. Elena felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation as she considered the implications of this choice. The search for comedians began in earnest as word spread across social media. Aspiring comedians and established acts alike flocked to auditions. Elena watched in awe as performers of all backgrounds took the stage, delivering their best material. She marveled at their ability to find humor in everyday situations, their unique perspectives, and their willingness to push boundaries. After a rigorous selection process, a diverse group of 5 comedians was chosen. Each brought their own style and flavor to the mix. There was Max, a sharp-witted stand-up comic who thrived on observational humor. There was also Layla, a whimsical storyteller whose tales captivated audiences with their absurdity, not to mention Joe, a seasoned improv master who could turn any situation into comedy gold. With the team assembled, they prepared for their unprecedented mission. The comedians were both nervous and excited as they discussed strategies to engage the Zithorians. They knew that laughter could be the key to understanding the alien visitors, and perhaps even to forging an alliance that spanned the galaxy. As the day of first contact approached, Elena felt a sense of hope. The comedians were ready to step onto the stage of history and show the Zithorians the heart of humanity in the most unexpected way. Through humor, they would bridge the gap between worlds and prove that laughter truly knows no bounds. The day finally arrived, and the atmosphere was electric as the comedians stood backstage in a small club transformed for this historic event. The air was thick with anticipation and a hint of nerves as the Zithorian delegation took their seats. The comedians exchanged glances filled with a mix of excitement and uncertainty. This was not just any performance, but a chance to represent humanity to an entirely new audience. The Zithorians were unlike anything the comedians had encountered. They were tall and slender with skin that shimmered in shades of blue and green. Their large eyes reflected curiosity and intelligence, but also a hint of confusion as they scanned the stage. It was clear that they were eager to understand, but had no idea what to expect. Max, the sharp-witted stand-up comic, was the first to take the stage. He adjusted the microphone and flashed a confident smile. The audience fell silent as he launched into his routine about the quirks of human life. His jokes about traffic jams and coffee addiction landed well with the Earthlings in the crowd, but the Zithorians stared blankly, their expressions unchanging. As Max reached the punchline of a particularly funny anecdote, he delivered it with flair, expecting laughter. Instead, he was met with silence and the sound of a pen scribbling furiously as a Zithorian began taking notes. Perhaps they were analyzing the joke, he thought, or maybe they simply didn't get it. The realization hit him hard, but he soldiered on. Next up was Layla, who brought her whimsical storytelling style to the stage. She wove a tale about a cat that believed it was a dog. Her vivid imagery painted a hilarious picture, and for a moment the audience seemed to connect, but the Zithorians were still lost. Their puzzled expressions suggested that the concept of a cat acting like a dog was beyond their comprehension. Joe, the improv master, decided to turn the situation around. He invited a couple of Zithorians onto the stage to join him in a spontaneous skit. The audience watched in fascination as Joe tried to incorporate their unique movements and sounds into his routine. But as he gestured and played off their reactions, it quickly became apparent that the Zithorians had no concept of improvisational comedy. They stood there rigidly unsure of how to respond. The tension in the room escalated as the comedians struggled to adapt their styles to the alien audience. Finally, Elena stepped in. She approached the microphone and shared a simple yet relatable story about the awkwardness of a first date. Her earnest delivery resonated with the Earthlings and unexpectedly sparked a flicker of recognition in the Zithorian eyes. As she continued to speak about misunderstandings and the hilarity that can ensue from them, the audience began to warm up to her. The Zithorians' expressions softened, and they exchanged glances as if they were starting to grasp the concept of human vulnerability and laughter. The room erupted in genuine laughter from the humans as they connected with Elena's story. Encouraged by this breakthrough, the comedians began to collaborate on the fly, combining their strengths. They blended observational humor with absurdity and heartfelt stories. The dynamic on stage shifted as they supported each other, creating a flow that allowed the Zithorians to see the beauty in the chaos of human experience. As the show progressed, the Zithorians slowly started to laugh, albeit hesitantly. The sound was a strange amalgamation of musical notes echoing in the club. Laughter was indeed a universal language, but it had to be translated through the lens of cultural understanding. As the performance drew to a close, the comedians felt a sense of triumph. They had opened a door to a connection that was once thought impossible. Backstage, they celebrated their small victories, realizing that they had taken the first step in bridging the gap between Earth and Zithoria. With renewed energy, they discussed how to refine their approach for the next day. This was only the beginning of a journey that would redefine not just their understanding of humor, but the very fabric of interstellar relationships. The following morning, the comedians gathered in a cramped back room of the comedy club, excitement and nervousness swirling in the air. The first performance had shown them that humor was not just about jokes. It was about connection. They had made progress, but they knew they needed to refine their approach if they wanted to truly bridge the cultural divide. Max broke the silence, his brow furrowed in thought. We need to do more than just tell jokes. We have to teach them what humor means to us. They need to understand the nuances, the sarcasm, the irony, the playful exaggeration. Layla nodded vigorously. Exactly. We can create a comedy bootcamp, a series of workshops to help them grasp our comedic traditions. We can start with basic concepts and build from there. Joe chimed in, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. And we can use games. Improv exercises can show them how humor is often spontaneous and reliant on shared experiences. It'll help them understand how to read the room. Elena watched them, her heart swelling with pride. This team of comedians was determined to make a difference, and she felt hopeful about their mission. They quickly mapped out a plan for their comedy bootcamp, eager to share the essence of human humor with their Zithorian guests. The next day, they welcomed a group of Zithorians into the club, their shimmering forms reflecting the dim lights. The comedians began with a simple introduction to the concept of humor, explaining how laughter can be a response to the absurdities of life. The Zithorians listened intently, their large eyes blinking in unison as they processed the information. Max led the first exercise, a game of 2 truths and a lie. He demonstrated how to share 2 true statements and 1 falsehood, encouraging the Zithorians to guess which was the lie. As he spoke, he added exaggerated gestures and facial expressions, hoping to convey the playful tone of the game. The Zithorians responded with their own versions, but their interpretations were hilariously literal. One Zithorian confidently stated, "I have never eaten a stone," while another proclaimed, "I have never been to a place without gravity." The room erupted in laughter as the comedians realized the Zithorians were missing the essence of the game. Realizing they needed to adjust their teaching methods, Layla introduced storytelling techniques, sharing fables filled with whimsical characters and absurd situations. She encouraged the Zithorians to participate by creating their own tales. The aliens struggled initially, but as they began to explore their imaginations, their stories took unexpected turns. A Zithorian named Lorth took a chance and wove a bizarre narrative about a sentient rock that wished to become a star. The delivery was earnest, and the absurdity of the premise caught the humans off guard. Laughter erupted as the comedians recognized the humor in Lorth's sincerity and creativity. Over the next few days, the boot camp continued, and the Zithorians slowly began to grasp the fluid nature of humor. The comedians introduced slapstick and physical comedy, showcasing classic routines filled with pratfalls and visual gags. The Zithorians observed with keen interest, often mimicking the comedians' exaggerated movements, leading to moments of pure hilarity. As the workshops progressed, the bonds between the humans and Zithorians deepened. They began to share stories of their cultures, their differences transforming into a shared tapestry of laughter and understanding. The Zithorians even started to adopt human phrases, misusing them in amusing ways that left everyone in stitches. By the end of the boot camp, the once literal Zithorians had evolved into budding comedians, ready to tackle the Galactic Comedy Festival. They understood that humor was a tapestry woven from shared experiences and emotions, and they were eager to showcase their newfound skills on the interstellar stage. The comedians felt a sense of accomplishment. They had not only taught but had also learned, discovering that laughter could truly transcend the stars. The day of the Galactic Comedy Festival dawned bright and clear, anticipation crackling in the air like static electricity. The venue was an enormous arena, its architecture a stunning blend of organic forms and shimmering technology. Aliens from various species filled the seats, their colors and shapes a kaleidoscope of diversity, each one eager to witness the first-ever interspecies comedy competition. Backstage, the Earth comedians and their Zithorian counterparts huddled together, running through their final preparations. The energy was palpable as they discussed their set, a collaborative performance that would showcase both human humor and Zithorian creativity. Max was pacing, his hands gesturing wildly as he recounted the highlights of their boot camp. "This is it, team. We've trained hard, and now it's time to show them what we've got," he said, excitement radiating from him. Layla chimed in, her voice tinged with enthusiasm. "Remember, it's not just about winning. It's about connecting with them and showing the galaxy who we are." Joe nodded, a mischievous grin spreading across his face. "And if we can make them laugh, we'll have already won." As the festival began, the first few acts took the stage, showcasing a range of comedic styles that left the audience puzzled at times and amused at others. A group of tentacled beings performed an elaborate mime routine that was visually stunning yet completely lost on the crowd. The Zithorian representatives sat with rapt attention, scribbling notes but showing little sign of laughter. When it was finally their turn, the Earth comedians stepped onto the stage, flanked by the Zithorians. The audience fell silent, eyes focused intently on the performers. Max took the lead, launching into a routine that combined observational humor with physical comedy, drawing from their training. He spoke about the absurdity of everyday life on Earth, gesturing wildly and employing exaggerated facial expressions. As he delivered his punchlines, he noticed something remarkable. The Zithorians were starting to understand. Their expressions shifted from confusion to intrigue, and a few tentative chuckles echoed through the crowd. Encouraged by this response, Layla jumped in, spinning a tale about a cat that thought it was an alien, complete with humorous sound effects and gestures that had the audience giggling. As the act progressed, Joe introduced an improv game, inviting some Zithorians onto the stage. This was their moment to shine, and the audience leaned forward in their seats, eager to see how the aliens would fare. The Zithorians initially hesitated, their bodies rigid, but as Joe engaged them, they slowly began to loosen up, responding to his prompts with unexpected humor. One Zithorian, Lorth, took a chance, proclaiming dramatically, "I am the fastest flyer in the galaxy," before pretending to trip over an imaginary object, causing the crowd to erupt in laughter. The combination of earnest delivery and the absurdity of the moment broke down barriers, and soon the audience was roaring with delight. As the performance continued, the line between human and Zithorian humor blurred beautifully. The two groups played off each other, creating a rhythm that left the audience captivated. Max delivered a punchline that had everyone in stitches, and Lorth followed with a Zithorian twist, taking the humor to new heights. But just as the performance reached its climax, a rival alien species, the Grythonians, attempted to sabotage the act. They released a cloud of bizarre spores that caused uncontrollable laughter among the audience, disrupting the flow of the show. Rather than falter, the Earth comedians seized the moment. Joe, quick on his feet, turned the chaos into a hilarious skit about the dangers of spore-infested comedy, riffing off the absurd situation. The audience roared with laughter, and even the Zithorians joined in, their eyes sparkling with delight. The unexpected twist transformed the performance into an unforgettable spectacle, showcasing the resilience of humor in the face of adversity. The Earth comedians had not only entertained but had also united the crowd through shared laughter. As the curtain fell, they basked in the applause, realizing they had achieved more than they ever thought possible, truly connecting across the vastness of space. In the days following the Galactic Comedy Festival, the buzz of excitement lingered in the air. The performance had been a resounding success, and the Earth comedians felt an exhilarating sense of accomplishment. They had not only entertained but also forged a bond with the Zithorians and other alien species, proving that laughter truly was a universal language. Backstage after the festival, the comedians gathered to discuss their next steps. "We opened the door," Elena said, her voice brimming with enthusiasm. "But we can't stop here. We need to keep the momentum going and solidify our connection with the Zithorians." Max leaned forward, his expression serious. "I think we should dive deeper into comedy styles. We've introduced them to some basics, but let's push the envelope. What if we develop more complex routines together?" Layla's eyes sparkled with inspiration. "We could create a series of themed performances that blend human and Zithorian humor. Each show could explore different comedic genres, from satire to absurdism." Joe, always the improviser, jumped in with excitement. "And we can involve the audience. Improv is all about collaboration, and we can invite them to participate. Imagine the laughs we get." With renewed determination, they set to work, organizing a series of workshops that would not only enhance their comedic skills, but also foster a deeper understanding of each other's cultures. They planned a performance schedule that would showcase everything from stand-up to sketch comedy, incorporating Zithorian perspectives and humor styles into the routines. The following week, the comedians held their first workshop, inviting a larger group of Zithorians to participate. They focused on the nuances of humor, tackling topics like satire and irony. The Earth comedians began with a sketch that playfully critiqued intergalactic stereotypes, highlighting the ridiculousness of assumptions. Max took the lead, channeling his inner satirist. Okay, let's do a skit about how all aliens think Earthlings are obsessed with their pets. You know, like how we treat our dogs like royalty, while the cats plot world domination. The Zithorians watched with curiosity, their expressions shifting as they began to grasp the concept of satire. As the skit unfolded, they contributed their own comedic flair, adding absurd twists that showcased their cultural perspective. Laughter erupted as they transformed the skit into a chaotic battle between dogs and cats, with Zithorian humor adding a layer of unpredictability that had everyone in stitches. Encouraged by their progress, they moved on to improv exercises. Joe led a game of yes and, which encouraged participants to build on each other's ideas. The room filled with laughter as the Zithorians began to embrace the spontaneity of improv. One Zithorian declared, "Yes, and my pet rock is actually a space traveler." As the weeks went by, the workshops continued, and the camaraderie between the humans and Zithorians blossomed. They spent long hours collaborating, crafting sketches, and brainstorming ideas that merged their unique comedic styles. One memorable session focused on physical comedy. The comedians introduced classic slapstick routines, demonstrating pratfalls and exaggerated movements. The Zithorians initially struggled to find a rhythm, but as they began to experiment, they quickly picked up the techniques. The sight of a tall Zithorian attempting to perform a classic banana peel slip left everyone doubled over in laughter. As they prepared for their next performance, a collaborative show that would debut in front of a mixed audience of Earthlings and Zithorians, the excitement was palpable. They knew this would be their chance to showcase their growth and newfound friendship on a grand scale. The night of the performance arrived, and the atmosphere was electric. The audience buzzed with anticipation, eager to witness this unique blend of human and Zithorian comedy. As the comedians took the stage, they felt the weight of their journey, but also the joy of what they had accomplished together. With laughter as their guiding star, they stepped into the spotlight, ready to share a piece of their hearts, and a bit of hilarity, with the universe. They had come together as strangers, and now they were poised to celebrate the unifying power of comedy, proving that even across galaxies, laughter could ignite understanding and friendship. The night of the collaborative performance arrived, and the atmosphere in the grand arena was electric. The stage was illuminated with vibrant lights, and the audience buzzed with excitement, a diverse mix of Earthlings and Zithorians, each eager to witness this historic event. Banners hung from the rafters, proclaiming the festival's theme, unity through laughter. Backstage, the Earth comedians and their Zithorian counterparts huddled together, hearts racing with anticipation. Layla, dressed in a colorful costume, adjusted her wig nervously while Max paced back and forth, muttering lines under his breath. Joe stood at the edge of the stage, peeking out at the crowd, his grin widening with every moment. "All right, team," Elena said, her voice steadying the group. "Tonight is our chance to showcase everything we've worked for. Let's remind everyone that humor is a powerful force for connection." With a collective deep breath, they stepped onto the stage, greeted by a wave of applause. The audience was a sea of curious faces, their expressions a blend of anticipation and eagerness. Max took the lead, launching into an opening monologue that set the tone for the evening. He weaved together observational humor about Earth life, peppered with playful jabs at human idiosyncrasies. "Why do humans always assume aliens will invade us? If I had to travel across galaxies, I just want to sit down and enjoy a good cup of coffee. Am I right?" He paused, inviting laughter, and the audience responded enthusiastically. As he transitioned into the collaborative sketches, the true magic began to unfold. The first skit featured a Zithorian character named Flim, who believed he could communicate with Earth animals. The Zithorian performer, with his long limbs and expressive gestures, delivered his lines with such earnestness that it sent ripples of laughter through the crowd. "Why does the cat stare at me so intently?" Flim lamented, his voice filled with mock despair. Is it judging my intelligence or plotting my demise? The audience roared, connecting with the universal experience of pet ownership, regardless of species. Next came a sketch where the comedians portrayed a misunderstanding about intergalactic customs. A Zithorian diplomat mistakenly thought Earthlings celebrated every meal as a feast, leading to an increasingly ridiculous series of events where the comedians frantically tried to accommodate an ever-growing banquet of imaginary dishes. As the sketch unfolded, the energy in the room skyrocketed. Joe seamlessly incorporated improv into the act, inviting audience members to suggest bizarre food items, which the Zithorians hilariously attempted to mime. The spontaneous suggestions led to a whirlwind of absurdity, with one audience member shouting "space spaghetti," causing the Zithorian to flop dramatically. "It's too slippery." The laughter echoed throughout the arena, uniting the audience in shared joy. They were no longer just humans and Zithorians. They were a community brought together by the sheer power of comedy. As the performance progressed, each skit blended elements from both cultures, revealing insights into their differences and similarities. A heartfelt moment came when Layla performed a piece about the joys and challenges of friendship, highlighting how humor can bridge gaps and create connections. The Zithorian performers added their own interpretations, creating a beautiful interplay that resonated deeply with the audience. By the time they reached the final skit, everyone was on the edge of their seats. It was a chaotic game show-style routine where contestants had to guess the most absurd intergalactic laws, combining elements from both worlds. The sheer ridiculousness brought the house down, with both comedians and Zithorians competing in exaggerated fashion. As the curtains fell, the crowd erupted in thunderous applause, cheers echoing through the arena. The comedians beamed at each other, their hearts swelling with pride. They had not only entertained but had created something truly special, a night of laughter that would be remembered across galaxies. Backstage, they celebrated, laughter mixing with tears of joy. They had come together as friends and collaborators, proving that even in the vastness of space, the bonds of humor could unite even the most disparate of beings. They had sparked a movement, one that would carry their shared laughter and understanding into the future, setting the stage for a new era of intergalactic friendship. As the celebration continued backstage, the atmosphere was one of exhilaration and triumph. The Earth comedians and Zithorians reveled in their success, high-fiving and sharing laughs over the night's performances. But amid the joy, Alina felt a stir of concern. The Galactic Comedy Festival had drawn attention not only from enthusiastic audiences, but also from rival factions who were less than thrilled about this newfound alliance. The following day, while the comedians were basking in the afterglow of their success, a wave of unease swept over them as whispers of sabotage reached their ears. News surfaced that the Grythonians, a rival species known for their disdain of human interactions, were plotting to undermine their efforts, fearful that the collaboration would threaten their own cultural standing. Determined not to let fear overshadow their achievements, Alina gathered the team in a meeting. "We've come too far to let anyone take this away from us," she declared, her voice firm. "We need to prepare for any attempts to disrupt our future performances. We must show the galaxy that our unity is stronger than their sabotage." Max nodded, his earlier enthusiasm transformed into resolve. "We should incorporate a layer of improv into our next performance, something that can adapt on the fly. If they try to disrupt us, we can turn it into comedy gold." Layla added, "And we can include a message about the importance of cooperation and understanding. If we highlight our unity, it might resonate with the audience and diminish any negativity." Joe, ever the instigator of chaos, grinned. "Let's create a skit that plays off the rivalries in a light-hearted way. We can poke fun at the ridiculousness of interspecies conflicts and showcase how laughter is the best remedy." With their plan in place, the team dove headfirst into preparations for their next show, eager to showcase their resilience. They developed a series of sketches that cleverly intertwined humor with themes of unity and cooperation, ensuring that even the most serious of topics could be tackled with a comedic twist. As the day of the next performance approached, the tension in the air was palpable. The venue was packed, and the audience buzzed with excitement, yet an undercurrent of apprehension loomed. The comedians took to the stage, their hearts racing as they prepared to face not only their audience, but also the potential sabotage from the Grythonians. Max opened the show with a bold statement, addressing the rumors that had circulated. "Tonight, we're here to celebrate our differences and showcase the power of laughter. And if anyone thinks they can ruin our fun, well, they clearly don't understand humor." The crowd erupted in applause, and the energy shifted. The skits that followed were a whirlwind of laughter, incorporating improvisational moments that turned potential disruptions into comedic highlights. The Zithorians embraced the challenge, joining in with their unique styles and delivering punchlines that left the audience roaring with laughter. Midway through the performance, just as they were executing a sketch about a galactic peace treaty that humorously showcased ridiculous misunderstandings between species, the lights flickered ominously. The Grythonians had made their move, attempting to disrupt the performance with a sudden barrage of nonsensical audio distortions that echoed through the arena. But the comedians were ready. Joe seized the moment, turning the chaos into comedy. "Ah, it seems we have a surprise guest. Our dear friends from Grythonia. Come on out, we have a seat for you." With quick thinking, the entire team began improvising around the noise, integrating the distortions into their routine, transforming the interruption into an impromptu game show about who can understand the Grythonians. They invited audience members to guess what the distorted sounds meant, leading to a hilarious guessing game that had everyone in stitches. As the skit unfolded, the audience joined in the fun, laughing at the absurdity of the situation. The Grythonians, realizing they had inadvertently become part of the show, found themselves drawn into the laughter, their initial intentions melting away in the face of unity and humor. By the time the performance concluded, the atmosphere had shifted dramatically. The audience had rallied behind the Earth comedians and their Zithorian partners, embracing the message of laughter as a unifying force. The Grythonians, instead of sowing discord, had inadvertently become part of the fabric of the evening, leaving behind their grudges. Backstage, the comedians celebrated their victory once more, but this time it was sweeter than before. They had not only entertained but had transformed potential sabotage into a message of resilience, proving that laughter could indeed overcome even the most entrenched rivalries. They stood together, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united by the laughter they had ignited across the galaxy. In the aftermath of their successful performance, the energy backstage was electric. The Earth comedians and Zithorian counterparts were riding high on a wave of triumph, but beneath the surface, a sense of urgency lingered. They knew the Grythonians wouldn't back down easily, and there was still work to be done to solidify their alliance and ensure future performances remained free from interference. As the team gathered for a debrief, Alina took the lead. "We've turned a potential disaster into a victory, but we can't afford to be complacent. The Grythonians may regroup and attempt another disruption. We need to think strategically about our next steps." Max chimed in. "Let's use this momentum to strengthen our relationships with other species. If we can unite more voices behind our mission, it'll be harder for the Grythonians to undermine us." Layla suggested we should organize an interspecies comedy tour. If we take our show on the road, we can showcase our message of unity far and wide, gathering support from all corners of the galaxy. Joe nodded enthusiastically. "Imagine the possibilities. We could even invite comedians from other species to join us, creating a blend of styles and humor that would be impossible to resist." With their plan in motion, the team immediately set to work organizing the interspecies comedy tour. They reached out to fellow comedians across the galaxy, inviting them to participate and share their unique perspectives. As news spread, they received an overwhelming response, with many eager to join the movement. As the tour kicked off, the Earth comedians and Zithorians traveled from planet to planet, performing in diverse venues that showcased a rich tapestry of cultures. Each performance was a celebration of humor, drawing from their experiences and embracing the quirks of each audience. They tackled topics ranging from food preferences to intergalactic misunderstandings, using comedy to break down barriers. Throughout the journey, the bond between the Earth comedians and Cythorians deepened. They learned from each other, blending their comedic styles in ways they had never imagined. Max's sharp wit complemented Layla's whimsical storytelling, while Joe's improv skills brought a spontaneous energy to every show. At one performance on the vibrant planet of Celestura, they were met with a packed house of eager attendees from various species. As the night unfolded, the comedic chemistry between the groups shone through. The Cythorians showcased their newfound comedic timing, and the crowd roared with laughter at their clever interpretations of Earth humor. However, just as the performance reached its peak, a familiar wave of disruption swept through the audience. The Grythonians had returned, determined to sabotage the show yet again. But this time, the comedians were prepared. Instead of being thrown off course, they seamlessly integrated the Grythonians into the performance. Max stepped forward with a grin. "Ah, our friends from Grythonia. You've arrived just in time for our next segment, improv. Let's see if you can handle our humor." The audience erupted in laughter, sensing the lightheartedness of the moment. The Grythonians, caught off guard by the unexpected turn of events, found themselves laughing along, their hostility dissipating in the face of shared joy. With quick improvisation, the comedians engaged the Grythonians, turning the potential disruption into an exhilarating game. They challenged each other to perform ridiculous skits, with audience members volunteering to join in. The laughter that erupted was infectious, creating a powerful sense of camaraderie among everyone present. By the end of the night, what had begun as a rival attempt at sabotage transformed into a celebration of unity. The Grythonians, once intent on causing chaos, had joined the laughter, their previous animosity melting away in the warmth of shared humor. As the tour continued, the impact of their efforts rippled through the galaxy. Audiences from every corner began to embrace the message of unity and understanding, inspired by the power of laughter to bridge even the widest divides. The comedians became ambassadors of humor, showing that even the most entrenched rivalries could be overcome through shared laughter and connection. On the final night of the tour, the team gathered for one last performance, feeling a profound sense of accomplishment. They had not only entertained but had ignited a movement that would continue to resonate across galaxies. As they took the stage one last time, they knew they had created something lasting, a legacy of laughter that would endure, bringing beings together in joy and understanding for generations to come. With hearts full of hope and laughter, they stepped into the spotlight, ready to share their message one final time. Laughter had truly become their greatest ally, a force that transcended differences and celebrated the beautiful tapestry of life in the galaxy.